ジタバタせずにコーヒーでも入れよう。
Good morning, everybody. And you know it's going to be a good one because I remembered to unmute myself to start the video. So, thank you all for coming to another edition of Coffee and Kaiju. And the usual Coffee and Kaiju crew is here. We got Mr. Fresh Vinyl, Richie. So,
good morning. Good morning. Coffee time.
Yeah, coffee time, baby. Coffee time. And we got Mr. Godzilla Collectors Group.
Good morning.
Hello. How are you?
Good morning, everybody.
And we got some people. We got Cole. Hello, Cole. Thanks for joining us. It's good to see you. If you're there, leave a comment. I'll try to put them up on screen. Today, what are we talking about? We're going to talk about this. So, I was telling Rich off the air, like randomly, like 3 weeks ago, I was just kind of milling around my house, and I felt like watching a Godzilla movie, and I remembered that HBO has all the, I think almost all the Godzilla movies, but I know they have the '90s ones, and I was like, I haven't watched the '90s one in a while. Let me watch King Ghidorah. So put it on. Hadn't watched it honestly probably in 15 years, and
wow,
yeah, not all the way through. You know what I mean? I've watched like bits and pieces here and there, and you know what, like. It was way better than I remembered. Like, it's still not great, but it's
fun.
Good. Like, yeah,
it's fun.
Like the effects, were better than I remembered for the most part. Some of them are still a little janky.
Yeah.
And the plot is still full of issues. But I mean, you can't make a time travel movie without plot issues. I mean, freaking Endgame couldn't even. I mean, there's plot issues with every damn time travel movie, maybe except for Back to the Future. That might be the only one that didn't really get it goofy, but you know. Yeah, but yeah, then I was like, you know what, we should do an episode on that. We haven't really done like a Heisei movie on the show yet, so you know. Big Ken. How you doing?
Good morning.
Hello, John. Thanks for joining. So yeah, I was like, you know what, let's do a thing on that. And you know, I figured we could talk a little bit about the movie first. So yeah, released in 1991, correct? Yeah.
Yep.
December, because that's when all these Godzilla movies came out, and it was the 18th Godzilla movie, third of the Heisei era, released December 14th, 1991, with an incredible, amazing poster by I will try not to screw his name, Noriyoshi Orai, I think that's how you say his last name.
Yep. Yeah, that's good.
Fantastic poster. Yeah, amazing poster. And produced by Shogo Tomiyama, music by the great Akira Ifukube, returning for his first Godzilla movie since 1975. Special effects by Koichi Kawakita. You got Anna Nakagawa as Emi in her only Godzilla role. And she passed, like 10 years ago, maybe? Something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Cancer, so that sucks, because she was pretty young.
Yeah.
Kosuke Toyohara as Ken Terasawa, the man who writes the book on Godzilla and how he became Godzilla. Mickey is back, of course, Megumi Yodaka.
She never appeared in another Godzilla movie again after this.
Nope, never saw it.
This was it.
Yeah. Her role in this movie is kind of like she has more to do in this movie than she does in some of the other ones, at least, you know. But she doesn't have a ton to do. Kawako Harada as Chiaki Miramura. God, I'm mangling these names, and she is his girlfriend, I think, and also
co-worker, girlfriend,
co-worker, girlfriend, editor, maybe.
These movies are not very clear about stuff.
Yeah,
like
but he kind of kind of forgets about her midway through the movie because he's in love with her,
and then at the very end, yeah,
she just kind of comes back and is standing next to him again. Of course, the great Yoshio Shushia as Shindo in an awesome role. He is awesome in this, and he's just awesome in everything, really. Robert Scott Field as Android M11. The great
we just blew past him with nothing else to say.
Well, the great Katsuhiko Sasaki as Professor Mazaki. He is an alumni of the Showa era.
Oh yeah.
And then you also get Chuck Wilson as Wilson, Richard Berger as Glenn Chico, who I think is supposed to be like a Russian dude. Colonel Gilbert as a colonel, and of course Major Spielberg.
I love that you put that in there, Major Spielberg.
You gotta have Major Spielberg in there. How could you?
Maybe you could tell your son.
How can you talk about this movie without talking about Major Spielberg? And then of course Ken Setsuma as Godzilla, Hurricane Ryu as King Ghidorah, Wataru Fukuda as Godzillasaurus. You can't not mention those guys, obviously. So yeah, and the movies. What do you guys think of the movie?
Who's gonna start?
Go ahead, Mike. You can break it down. Break it down.
All right. So, what do I think of the movie? It's hard for me to give an unbiased opinion on the Heisei series since I really grew up with those. Like my happiest memories really revolve around those films and the Bandai toys and everything. So I have a lot of nostalgia for this film. I think parts of it aren't very good, but it's balanced out by parts that are really fantastic. So it's a real mixed bag. A lot of the first half is a hard watch. A lot of it's hard. But once Godzilla gets into the movie, that's when I think it really takes off. Because first half is rough. I think the Godzillasaurus stuff does not hold up. A lot of the optical effects and the stuff with the human characters, especially M11, are just laughably bad.
Yeah.
But once the monsters really get into the film, like it's some of the, like I remember at the time, the Mecha King Ghidorah fight was really, people talked about it like it was one of the best scenes in the entire series, and it still really holds up.
It's pretty short.
Yeah, but it works. It's like the Biollante fight. It's short, but it's really good.
Yeah.
This is one of the very best Godzilla costumes, like one of the most iconic designs. It's a decent refresh of the King Ghidorah design. I prefer Showa, but this one's fine. Mecha King Ghidorah is just something else. Like, it's really one of the coolest things they ever did. And the Fukube score, like, really helps this film. Could you imagine this scored any other way? It definitely wouldn't have been as strong a movie. Any other score, this would have been a worse film.
Yep, so, fully agree with all your points.
So I turn it on when I want to have fun with something. If I want to watch a good one, I'm not going to watch this. But if I'm going to have something I want to have fun with and just have a nostalgia blast, I'll turn this one on. Like, it's not my favorite Heisei film. I think Mechagodzilla probably is. But this is close to the top for me. I like it a lot. Even though I'm critical of parts of it, I still like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that you mentioned about the effects not holding up, some of them are pretty cool. I always liked the sub scene where he destroys that submarine. I think that's an improvement.
Yeah, that's good.
The one from '85. I always thought that was really cool. Godzilla looks incredible in this movie.
Yeah,
and his rampage is really good. I think it's better than the one in Biollante. I love when he falls through the street. I think it's so cool. That whole sequence is really good. There's certain things that are so strange. Like, they get back and they're just like, oh, and now King Ghidorah has appeared. Like, there's no like ramp up or build up or anything to it. He's just suddenly there. The Dorats are dumb. That his origin being them is dumb. And
I've never understood how it was Emmy. It was Emmy who lets the Dorats loose in the past.
Yeah.
But then when they get back and Wilson's like, oh yeah, King Ghidorah's shown up. She looks like she's horrified, but you did it.
You did it, yeah.
You didn't know what the plan was the whole time?
Yeah. And they also just completely skirt over the fact that when they're leaving, I think it's Mickey's like, where are the Dorats? And she's like, don't worry about it. And they're just like, oh, all right, let's not worry about it. And they just leave.
Yeah.
Like, that's like I said, this movie has a decent amount of plot holes, but it does have some fun stuff. The Godzilla stuff you mentioned doesn't really hold up well, but I mean that never looked good to me, especially coming out when it did, which was it like 2 years before Jurassic Park. Those dinosaur effects were just like, oh my god. But also the fact that they didn't bother to age down Shindo at all, even though it was supposed to be like 40 years in the past.
I mean, the shots of the Godzillasaurus getting shot by the battleship are really cool. I mean, even though it's got Gamera's roar for some reason.
Yeah.
It's the stuff with like stomping on the soldiers and the rubber tail hitting them. It really doesn't hold up.
It's very over the top and like almost like purposely silly when he starts stomping on them. It's funny. I mean, I don't know how old you guys were. I was in high school, and well before the movie came out, do you remember the big controversy? It was always on.
Yeah.
Like, we had a show, I think it was called Entertainment Tonight or something, and they would show clips of movies and stuff. And there was like such a big controversy. I think it was on CNN at one point about how disrespectful it was that the Godzillasaurus killed the Americans, and that then the Japanese soldiers saluted the Godzillasaurus. And I'm just watching it now. I'm like, dude, it's obviously so silly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at no point is this meant to be anything other than just really goofy and silly. So, but yeah, I mean, all in all, it's a solid entry. I like it more than Mothra, the next one, and I like it more than Space Godzilla. You know what I mean? And it's probably on par with me with Destroyer. So
for me, I think it's a little over Destroyer just because the movie's a bit fresher. And I feel I know I've said this about Destroyer. Destroyer's strengths are the beginning and the end. The middle's a slog. I feel like just even the worst parts of King Ghidorah are fun. Like, I never feel like I hit a point with King Ghidorah where I'm just tired of it. And Destroyer gets me like turning it off midpoint so much. But I have a fun with King Ghidorah. I mean, you do see some of Koichi Kawakida's weaknesses start to come out with this film where you didn't see it with Biollante. I mean, a great example I always use is when King Ghidorah is attacking the city. Yep. And you have him matted into traffic in the foreground, which is just leisurely
not reacting
down
to
the
it
street.
at all. Yeah.
The opticals are transparent, so nothing's actually blowing up. You can see behind the explosions, nothing's exploding, and the really cheap shadow effect flying over the city. It all happens at once, and this is stuff that you can forgive here, but gets worse in later movies.
I mean, I always thought in the 90s movies, I'm like, why could he not get wings to flap better than they could in the 60s? You know what I mean? Like, they were doing this, 30 years more technology, and the wings flapping, and all the monsters with wings always flap way more stiffly than they did.
People rag on Godzilla versus Gigan because King Ghidorah doesn't flap his wings, but there's a whole jet attack sequence where his wings are not moving at all. He's just as stiff as in Godzilla versus Gigan. How did Tsuburaya perfect it 30 years earlier, but here in 1991 they can't do it?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, fuck this movie.
No,
I'm
this
kidding.
movie.
I'm kidding. This movie's pretty good. Rich, what do you think, man?
So back in the 90s, when after clearly Godzilla vs. Biollante came out on VHS via HBO, home video, Ghidorah, Mothra, Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla. So this is 1994. We didn't have any of these films available to us here in the United States in any form or fashion. So I had picked them up on bootleg. And Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah was the first one that I watched when I got those 4 movies. So it has a sweet spot for me nostalgia-wise. Because I was like sitting down, like getting to watch new Godzilla movies, to me, brand new. But I think if I was 94, I must have been 11 years old or 10 because it was like the summer. So, I was completely taken back into the story. Like, I don't typically nitpick the story apart. I just take it for what it is, even as wonky as it is. I think this movie I started thinking about more as I got older and having discussions with you guys at G-Fest or whatever, especially about the time travel thing. So like, oh yeah, that doesn't really work because Biollante and Godzilla 84 don't exist. So how does Space Godzilla exist and all that, blah, blah, blah. But overall, I enjoy that movie. Probably falls midway to the upper of my favorites for the Heisei films. Godzilla's design is pure badass. It was also the last time that they used the original Roar, the updated Roar before they switched over to the Showa style Roar for the rest of the Heisei films. I thought the special effects were pretty cool. Again, I'm thinking watching it for the very first time. Ghidorah, I thought was a badass, and then clearly Mecha Ghidorah, I thought was pretty damn cool because of this is brand new. It wasn't so much of a rehash of the Showa films. Just monster versus monster. They took the character and did something different with him. I love the score. That's one of the soundtracks that I have. But
I got the same one.
Great score.
Yeah, so it was awesome for Ifukube to come back.
You guys feel like there's some shades of Godzilla versus Destroyer in this where I never really noticed it until I rewatched it recently, and I was like, man, some of these themes are a little I mean, he always recycled his stuff anyway, but
yeah,
and I don't mean that in a negative way. The guy was the fucking best, but yeah, and you and Mike are close in age, so you guys, for you, this would have been like, growing up with the Showa movies for me almost
yeah. Well,
12 years younger than me, so
yeah, I heard about this one before it came out. So I was at again, I would have been at the Yamahan Plaza and flipping through Hobby Japan books, and that's where I saw a picture of Mecha King Ghidorah, and that blew my mind because I'm like, holy shit, like a robot King Ghidorah, like that's the next movie. All right. Yeah. And then I got the toys and some books, and I finally saw it about, I don't know, 8 months after it came out on a bootleg. And I was really impressed by it. I was 12, 13 when I first saw it. So I wasn't a kid, but it made a huge impression on me. And, I always thought it was a really cool movie. So I have that bias still where I still love it despite flaws I see in it, where I don't give that sort of courtesy to later films. King Ghidorah means a lot to me only because of when I saw it, how old I was, and just all the toys and cool shit I was buying at the time. So it seemed like just like an advanced, such a cool movie. It seemed like one of those films I had never really seen. It was awesome. I loved it as a kid.
What do you guys think about Leslie's comment here about the updated design being so good? I do like the design of this, but I mean, do you guys prefer this design over? I mean, there's been multiple King Ghidorahs, but up to this point, this was only the second, real version of him.
I'm fine with the design.
Like the Showa. I like the hair and the manes on the Showa. I like that the Showa is a little leaner, and I much prefer the Showa roars.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Rodan's roar.
Yeah, it's weird how the 90s movies really didn't put a lot of stock in the old monster roars, especially King Ghidorah's. It's such an iconic roar. It's like right up there with Godzilla's, honestly.
And then they use that same roar again for Batra, and then Rodan. And by the time it gets to Rodan, we've heard it twice already.
Yeah. Man, Leslie with all the good comments. Really marked the turning point. 84. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, this definitely is a tonal shift from like semi-realistic sci-fi to like fantasy sci-fi.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with the fact that Biollante didn't do very well in the box office. I wouldn't say it bombed, but it definitely underperformed.
That's why they brought back, one of the big five for the clearly for the next few movies.
Yeah. Caleb growing up, and I was honestly, that's a cool scene, and I like when they put stuff like that in these movies that you don't normally see, like him in a spot you wouldn't normally think to see him.
That comment reminds me of a meme I've seen where the Godzilla was replaced by a giant cow, and all the cows are small Godzillas.
That's pretty funny. Nice. Yeah, Goji Franklin, man, thanks for joining. Really? I'd have to hear them back to back. But I mean, they're all similar.
They're mixed different, but it's still
roar. Yeah. It's all like generic.
It's like Gorosaurus, Baragon, and Varan. They're mixed a little differently, but they're all the same roar. I mean, it is a little different, King Ghidorah and Batra, but it still has that same Rodan feel to it.
Yeah, in the Showa, Varan and Baragon, you can hear Godzilla's roar pretty plainly in their roars. Collecting. Man, oh man.
Fuck toys.
There's so many Godzilla versus King Ghidorah shit.
A lot of stuff came out collecting wise for this movie, including in the U.S., as we'll see here shortly. I mean, this was the first time I remember I was telling Rich that I could walk into a comic shop, not like a specialty shop that imported Japanese stuff, just like a regular comic shop, and find, on the wall, Godzilla stuff for sale. And like I have these muted my mic instead of went to solo layout. Like these big boys here, the big the banks, they're banks, and they used to roar when you put money in, but the roar has petered out. Still some money in there from 1991 though. And then this guy this guy I actually didn't get because high school budgets did not allow me to have both, so I didn't get the King Ghidorah until I was an adult. But I did have this guy in high school, and then I also found this set here, which was like a little chibi model.
Those sets are so awesome.
Yeah, and they were pretty fun. They also had a Batra set, which I never got, but yeah, they're pretty fun. And I, put these things together when I was a wee lad.
We're going to show a lot of stuff, but if we were really thorough, there'd be a ton of shit, considering Toho considers the 91 Ghidorah like the definitive official look. So there's been so much merchandise. Like, just look on the Godzilla store. There's so much stuff with just that King Ghidorah, like on pins and buttons and shirts. Like, if you're going to see a King Ghidorah on an American product, it's going to be the 91 figure. Because Toho considers it the definitive one.
Yeah, I mean, as we start looking at the collectibles here, I mean, there's so much. I mean, we could have done a 5-hour stream on the collectibles. It's insane. I narrowed it down to like the main companies. I didn't put any like sticker kits or or the
buttons and keychains and stuff.
Yeah, all that little tchotchke type stuff. I didn't put any of that in. This is like your the main stuff. So
that's the problem with the Heisei stuff. There's so much of it.
Yeah, there is, and like I said, especially for this movie, it's nuts. Let's without further ado, let's just get into it. So I mean, we'll start. Obviously, you got to start with Bandai, and we'll start with Godzilla. So we'll go Godzilla, then we'll go King Ghidorah, then we'll go Mecha King Ghidorah, and then I think I might even have a Dorat thrown in there.
Godzillasaurus too.
Oh yeah, and I also have Godzillasaurus. So yeah,
we just talked about this in the last episode.
Yeah, we had. This is the big boy. Like I said, refer back to the last episode if you want more information on this guy. But he's a solid figure. I would have got mine down off the shelf, but he's all dusty, and I didn't want to clean.
I got mine over here if you want to highlight.
Hang on.
There we go.
There he is. Yeah, he's a great figure.
I
really
mean,
good.
Here's that giant tail we talked about last time.
Yeah, I feel like there was another section that they just were like, nah, just leave the ball.
And the box is huge because it's gonna fit the tail in there.
Yeah. And then you obviously have the standard size, which I believe we also talked about last episode. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously a classic figure. I love the expression on this guy. He is quite nice. Closed mouth Godzilla. Yep, he's quite nice. Bandai 2021. I don't think I have. I think I might have. I don't have the blue. Rich, do you have the blue? I feel like that'd be one you'd have.
Do you, Rich? Do you have the blue one? The Godzilla the art figure? Is Rich muted?
Rich is muted.
Oh,
Rich, you're muted.
I muted myself because I was making noise. Yes, I have 2 of those.
Okay. I figured I was like, Rich probably has one of those things.
Funny story. My brother-in-law had just gotten back from Japan a few weeks ago, and he showed me pictures of the Godzilla stores. One of them has like a ton of these things for sale. And I was like, damn, if I had known like he was at that store, I would have asked for one of them. But they're cool. I wish I had one of those blue ones.
I really like it. I mean, does it look as good in person as it does in that picture? Because that blue is really pretty. Like, that's really nice.
I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. I usually don't go for those like off colored Bandais, but I do like that. Which
so
is
the
funny.
standard
I have
is
a wall of off-colored figures behind me.
And that was what, the second Bandai figure for the Godzilla art stuff. So, at the time, I think the Godzilla art stuff was still like pretty damn like, oh wow, this is like exclusive limited stuff, like the 54 maquette that came out. But now you can get these readily available.
from the picture I saw, you can just walk in and have your pick of 30, 40 of them, because they were standing up on a table at the sign said Godzilla the art, and there was like just a big thing of blue figures on top.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's why I ended up with 2 of them, because I thought I clicked one and bought it, and then I thought it didn't work, and then I clicked one and bought it on another link, and I realized like,
I only saw the photo once you got back. I'm like, if you had shown this to me when you were still there, I would have been like, shit, get me 2, I'll resell one. Damn.
Yeah. The big scale on the first figures I bought, I paid $50. Man, imagine paying $50 for that figure now. For that big boy. I wonder what he goes for a G-Fest these days. I would say considerably more than 50, probably.
Yeah, I would think with the box.
But not as much as you think, though, because it was reissued a bunch of times, so it's not uncommon.
Yeah, that is true. This one is not out yet. We're still actually waiting. I generally don't collect articulated stuff, but I do have this guy on pre-order because he looks really, really nice.
Yep, same.
And the release date's June, and tomorrow is the last day of June. So I don't think they're going to hit their release date.
Where did you pre-order yours from?
Big Bad Toy Store.
Oh, yeah. So I know basically all the retailers here in the United States that ordered theirs still dealing with the tariff situation. So this is why, if you've seen reviews, people overseas, they all got theirs.
Okay. It looks cool. And again, like I said, I'm not a big articulated figure guy, but I mean, if it looks as nice in person as it does in the picture, it's a really
I feel like the prototype has a very, very good paint job with dry brushing, where the actual product, it doesn't have as an in-depth paint job, but it still looks pretty good. So I'm not trying to judge too much until I have it in hands too. Yeah,
that's how I feel too. And then Rich Cox's favorite company, Hazawa Gumi. Is it Gumi or Gummy?
I always say Gumi because that's how with I in the Japanese is pronounced.
Yeah. And these are fun. Obviously, there's various variants on that guy, like there is with most of the more.
I had the blue one on the second from the right.
They're fun. I've only ever had one Gumi. It was a King Goji, and when I realized how many and how elaborate, I was like, I can't go. This is the road I cannot go down. So I actually sold that. I sold that guy. But yeah, these are cool. And then of course, my favorite company, Marmot, although not my favorite.
No.
Sculpt. I feel like when you do a open-mouthed figure and you paint the mouth open and not just sculpt the mouth open, that you lose something, and it looks kind of like he's got a brick or something in his mouth.
Especially, this is when Marmot started doing that with the open mouths. And I remember that I never thought they did a bad Monster Heaven figure, but when I got this one, I remember thinking, what the fuck went wrong with this?
And honestly, minus the head, it's really a nice figure. You know, like the body sculpt's super nice. The dorsals look nice. It's
the head hurts it though.
The head, it just, and I honestly do think if they had just cut, the teeth out, it still wouldn't be perfect because the eyes aren't quite right either.
Oh yeah, it looks like
yikes. Those eyes are Yeah,
but it would definitely be better. So
it looks a bit like when King Ghidorah first shows up, Mecha King Ghidorah, and the robot Godzilla, the animatronic, just looks back like, holy shit. That's kind of what it looks. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah. So that's the Marmot output, and of course, in typical Marmot fashion, there's multiple colorways of that. And then we got SH Monster Arts, which is your articulated figure. I don't think any of us really collect SH Monster Arts here, but
not anymore.
Yeah,
not anymore.
They're not for the value for your buck is not.
I gotta say though, the fact that they're doing a complete Godzilla versus Gigan collection with suit accurate King Ghidorah.
I know
I never thought from Monster Arts someone would be able to put together a screen accurate Godzilla versus Gigan display.
It's tempting, but they do look so cool. But
the Ghidorah alone is $300.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Like it's just so crazy. And they're not very big. I mean, you're not getting the X Plus King Ghidorah when you buy that thing, So, and then of course, speaking of X Plus, Rich, I assume you have this guy.
I actually don't have either one of those.
Oh, that's right. This is two different ones.
I have the Hokkaido version.
Okay.
That was the first. That was actually the first 91 and the first Yuji Sakai 30 centimeter series release.
Okay.
So yeah,
these are
there was 391. These are the two of the other ones.
Curious to what your opinions on the new Heisei designs before the marketing research there. Oh, I mean, at the time, just seeing any of these monsters updated was incredible.
I mean, again, at the time for me, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah was the newest one, and I had no problems with the designs.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Hi, Josie. What are you doing? Yeah. Wait, James Hartman's here? Oh my God, James Hartman.
Hey, James.
How you doing, buddy? Up early on the West Coast. Thank you for joining us. So I think that wraps it up for Godzilla. I mean, obviously it doesn't, but it wraps it up for. Oh, baby, you're on camera. Hi, what do you need, baby? I'm live. Okay, goodbye. Right? No, we got more X Plus. I think these are just close-ups of the two. As far as this sculpt goes, I much prefer that closed mouth. It's really pissed off.
Yeah. I think Bandai did it to me where I think 91, I think closed mouth. It's just,
It made closed mouth Godzilla figures pure badass.
Yeah. Hey Oscar, thank you. Yeah, it's rad. And now back to Bandai with a figure I think we discussed last episode as well.
Yep.
So not a ton to say about that guy. It is the bog standard King Ghidorah.
Now, that's the
go ahead.
Movie Monster series. Sorry, I thought we were going to the. Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then the Movie Monster series.
That one started out in the Godzilla Island series, then became Toho Kaiju series, then into the Movie Monster series, and then it was in the Memorial box set. I think there are 5 of these if you are serious about tag variants, because the Toho Kaiju one is the exact same figure. And that's the only one I don't have. I have the Godzilla Island, I have both Movie Monsters, and the Memorial box set. So there's a lot of these guys.
The first, correct?
Yes, 98.
Yeah, so those are all these 6-inch scale ones I have. I got when they were in that Godzilla Island banner. But
this one looks like it's from the 2001 series based on the
you can see the tag.
Yeah.
That's the movie. This is the first Movie Monster series release. Then it was followed by the pink tag one. Then the Memorial Box version.
Yeah. But basically, no matter what you call them, these are 6-inch scale versions of. Well, I mean, honestly, sculpt wise, it to me is an improvement.
Absolutely
over this figure.
That's a
sculpt. I mean, this is just a Showa figure with just different necks and heads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, this is for a 6-inch figure, that was mass sold at like Japanese Toys R Us. It's nice. It's got nice paint. They've actually done some shading and took some time with it. So it's a nice figure.
And then you know what? The picture does not sell how cool this toy is. When I first saw it, I was hard on it. I took 2 years to get a hold of it. Yeah. Look at that gold on the wings.
Yep. I know my lighting's a little bright, but when I first saw this, and I got back into collecting Bandai, I'm like, this thing, like the wing update, the whole thing is brand new. I just wish the heads were on, swivels so you could spread
them out. They're so close together. Yeah.
This thing is great.
But each mouth is open a little differently.
Yep.
Like there's 3 different head sculpts.
So cool.
I love how the gold on the wings looks like an actual fabric wing. It's really well done.
It gives a nice sense of depth.
It's a nice solid figure too. It's not going to warp or.
Nope. Nice.
And you can turn the wings, and actually not worry about it. why didn't the Dream 5 Ghidorah have wings like that? Like, why did they do it this way and it turned out so good? And they couldn't do it again.
Plenty of room in that box. You know, if they had the wings sculpted differently for that Ghidorah, there was plenty of room in that box. So packaging shouldn't have been an issue.
Yeah, so like I said, I was really hard on this figure, so I saw it in person a couple of months ago, and I was like, all right, yeah, I gotta get this one because I can't put it off. It was way too fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm actually, after seeing Rich holding it in person, I kind of wish I had one. Really nice. And then everyone's favorite, the bane of the Godzilla collectors group, Bandai Creations.
Well, these little guys are cute. The vinyl
cool.
figures, but these are cute.
Yeah, I like these guys. So yeah, you got this guy, and then you had the 2-pack with him and Mothra.
And my daughter has these guys, and in a bit of toys.
I believe I have I think they came in it might be, no, maybe not. These aren't the ones that came in the 5-pack. That's a different.
I think they might have been the same ones.
There might be the same ones. Yeah, it came with the Godzilla. There's
maybe a Gigan,
right? And a Mecha Godzilla and a Gigan. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And then Concord put out this, which my daughter actually has. I gave it to her in her bedroom, so I just threw it in there. Diamond Select did this, which is supposed to be a bank, but it's about big enough.
How much money could you put? Yeah, how much money could you possibly put in that thing?
You're not putting much money in that thing. I should have took a picture of it. I actually have this, the Mecha Godzilla bust that they did, and the Godzilla bust that they did, and I took all of them and I put them on a piece of, I guess it was just a piece of plywood, and I glued them to it, and I put it on outside my house on the archway going into my house. So you can't really see it unless you look for it, but if you look for it, it's up there, and it's been up there for like 5 years. So
that's awesome.
Every now and then somebody will be like, dude, are you that house with the Godzillas above your door? And I'm like, yeah, but they're not at eye level. You know what I mean? They're like at my roof line. So you actually have to like look up and see them up there, but they've been up there forever.
It's an ancient statue. If you take it down, you will awaken the beast.
Yeah. And every time I like clean my gutters and stuff, I'm like, yeah, they're still up here. They still look good. You know, I clean the cobwebs off of them, but they've been up there for like 5 years. So yep. Yeah, James is right. You can put about 75 cents in that thing, probably.
Yeah.
It is not good as a bank. It is, however, not a bad sculpt. The wings are
weird wings, though.
Yeah. The way the one flips forward and the one flips back was a strange choice.
He was doing a spinneroonie, you know?
Yeah.
Like Rodan.
Yeah. His attack from Destroy All Monsters Melee or something.
Then
SHMA. I actually had this guy.
I had this one too, yeah.
What a fiddly. Oh, God, man. Like, it would just fall apart if I looked at it.
Oh, yeah. The quality control on this thing was
so frustrating.
You could not pose this without pieces falling off. And the wings were a huge problem for people.
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. It actually is where that meme came from, where it was like 500 points of articulation falls apart when you touch it, that I made a long time ago. I think that picture is actually James Hartman's picture that I found online, and I made that meme.
I remember the wings being so brittle, people were just breaking them, just trying to pose them.
Yeah, it was apart in the box,
like literally snapping apart the wings when they tried to pose them.
Yeah. So, and we move into, depending on how old you are, your very first Godzilla toys, probably. I did collect some of these. I was too old at that point, but I did collect them. They definitely weren't for like a serious collector. They were definitely to be played with, but I did have them because honestly, in 1992 and 93 and 94, there were no. I mean, it was cool just to walk into a store and get a Godzilla toy. So I did have quite a few of the Trendmasters, and now they are kind of sought after because.
And the weird thing about the King Ghidorah is they didn't. The horns were webbed.
Yes.
They didn't cut the plastic out of the horns. So in all their King Ghidorahs, they have webbed horns.
Correct. Memories. Yes, memories. Yeah, and honestly, like, if you do have them, I mean, they are, like, sought after figures now. So
I had all of these things. Emphasis on
and
had, but I had all of them.
Trendmasters went to town with Ghidorah and Mecha King Ghidorah. I mean, they put out, as we'll see here shortly, so much stuff. Like this thing, which is an egg that hatches.
And keep in mind, this stuff started coming out in 1995 when it was still years before this movie was even released here.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. I mean, it was just King Ghidorah. There was no differentiation.
And on the bio was all about the time travel stuff. It wasn't anybody who only didn't know the film would have been like, what is this about time travel? And, all that shit. Like, what is a Godzillasaurus? All that stuff is on the back of the Playmates cards, even though no one had seen the film.
Yeah. The Bendy, is this the Bendy? No, this is not the Bendy, is it?
No, it is. It says it right there on the package.
Yeah. Oh, it is. My thing's covered by slide number 20, so I don't get all the fun details that you guys get. So the Bendy guys, I had a ton of the Bendies. I still have my Mothra and I think my Godzilla Bendies, but I think that might be it for the Bendies. Then you had this boy who was the walker, and he roared, and the wings moved, and apparently it had realistic skin.
Yeah, you know what? We don't have a picture of this. I never mentioned it, but there was a rubber, a lot like this, a Bandai one. The real action King Ghidorah, where you put the rubber suit over the robot skeleton and it would walk. I never had that one, but I did have this.
Yeah.
I had the Godzilla version of this.
Yeah. I had the big Godzilla, not the one that walked, the one that roared. I did have that guy. Back to this real quick. This would have been after they hit, because originally the packaging was like that. And then they went to this more
Godzilla Wars line.
Yeah. And then this one actually is interesting because it has, an actual shot, a promo shot from the movie. So that's kind of cool.
And I think Godzilla Wars came out even before Space Godzilla had come along on video. Exactly. So even then, Space Godzilla was a brand new character for people.
And that's when Trendmasters started, and I believe they got in trouble, if I remember correctly. They used shots from the Godzilla versus Space Godzilla in the commercials here in the United States, and they had, if I remember correctly, they had to take that stuff off because.
Oh, really?
There's a scene where Godzilla is just entering Fukuoka that was in the Trendmasters commercials, but they got pulled.
Hey, Toho doesn't play. Yeah, Leslie, that's a good point. See, what you were saying, Mike, for the longest time, I thought Mecha King Ghidorah was just an original take on the monster, and that it came from a movie. Yeah, because unless you were tuned in to or had a subscription to GFan or had access to the bootlegs, there was not a lot. It's not like Siskel and Ebert were reviewing the movies. It wasn't like there was any. Godzilla was really dead in U.S. pop culture. Yeah, in this part of the 90s, and whenever you did hear about Godzilla, it was in a jokey way. It definitely wasn't. No one would have ever thought it would have been a multi-million-dollar movie franchise in the U.S. and that it would win an Oscar one day. So there you go. Some more Trendmasters. This is a 2-pack.
And these are copied a little bit from Yutaka Bandai figures, Japanese toys. That Godzilla is straight out a toy from Japan. A lot of that King Ghidorah is too. Yeah, because Trendmasters copied Bandai toys, like their 10-inch Mechagodzilla. That's the DX Bandai. Exactly. There's nothing different about it. And these figures too. These are Bandai toys. Yeah.
And the Godzilla, when we did Godzilla, I didn't put any Godzillas in for Trendmasters because technically, I think this is like an '89 Godzilla, or it's just a generic Godzilla. Yeah, so that's why there were no Trendmasters Godzillas, because believe me, there's a lot of Trendmasters Godzillas.
But that Godzilla,
if anything, it looks like he has the '84 body with just a generic Heisei head.
Yeah. The dorsals even are. The way they line up are more 84-ish. And then of course these are super cool. I still have 2 of these. I do not have this one. I have the Rodan one and the Mecha Godzilla, but these are fun. And if you can find them with all the parts, good job.
I think I had the Space Godzilla one. I don't remember though.
Yeah, I mean, these are neat. Like, I always thought these were neat little sets. Nev, this is like the type of thing that's right up Nev's alley. He loves this kind of stuff. Hey,
Jessica
Nev.
Etchels has a massive collection of these too.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, she did some crazy customizing with them. It's which influenced her to create her miniature set diorama that she did. I think it was last year G-Fest, which was fucking awesome. If you hadn't seen it, but these little sets is what's inspired her to do what she's doing. It was really cool.
Yeah, they're fun.
Some companies doing like a retro version of these, but like the prices are nuts. I know there's Godzilla and a Biollante. I don't know if you've seen those.
Look, your nostalgia has no price tag.
Yeah.
That's how it works. This one, Mike, you actually said is not a...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's from GMK because there was the GMK Godzilla and Mothra was part of that set.
Yeah.
So
again, that's more or less a generic-ish King Ghidorah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had mentioned this. This is the Yutaka.
Yeah. And this came with Godzilla in this set. Yeah.
Yep, there it is. And that is pretty similar to that that Trendmasters one right here.
Yeah. Well, this Godzilla and King Ghidorah are based on the hard plastic big Godzilla, the candy toys.
Okay.
But they're very similar. And then this Godzilla and this King Ghidorah showed up in a big box set, which had a flying Rodan, a King Caesar, a couple of Mothras, Gigan, and Mechagodzilla. But this stuff is all like when the films were brand new. So this would have been like 1991. But like these two figures, never mind.
Okay.
These two figures are obviously just scaled down from the original 8-inch Bandais.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell.
Yeah.
And now that looks like the Treadmasters figure.
Yeah, exactly. That Godzilla is very similar positioning and posing and everything is very, very similar.
Yeah.
So, and then moving on to Bandai, Mecha King Ghidorah, which we discussed.
Yep.
Last episode.
But we didn't. Do you have a picture of the Forever one?
Maybe. No.
No, guess not.
It's basically, yeah, I was going to pull mine out, but
I was going to as well, but I didn't want to go through stuff. But just picture the other one with lots of silver and gold.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you got the Godzilla Island, whatever you want to call it, 6-inch scaled one, which again, pretty big improvement between the two.
Now Bandai's got a new one of these coming out later this summer.
Oh, really?
Based on what they're doing with some of these 6-inch stuff, I have a feeling it's kind of going to be like this, but smaller, or I tell you what would be dope because I would get it if they use this sculpt and, make him a Mecha Ghidorah from this. That would be pretty cool.
Well, the heads will probably be the same from that new one.
Yeah.
I don't know really how much more they can improve on the robot parts, though, because the 6-inch one is pretty great. Pretty perfect.
And this one came out. This is the 2018 reissue of the Movie Monster series. So I had originally had the Toho Kaiju, Godzilla Island,
Toho Kaiju,
the other two Movie Monster series. I sold them, and then when Bandai bit me in the ass again, I was like, all right, I'll just pick up the most recent one because it still looks gorgeous.
That's funny. I have the other ones, but I don't have that one.
Yeah, this one, I like this one because it still retains that, the Forever series kind of paint job. It's not, the wings have a different shade to them, but this looks, I dig it. It's still a beautiful figure.
Yeah, I always liked this figure. They did a nice job on a lot of these early, especially the earlier ones. They're nice. And then Haya, this is beautiful. I think
even though it's so bulky, it has to rest on its own wings.
Yeah, but God Almighty,
up in a squat.
God, that thing is beautiful.
It's cool.
We'll see. In hand could be a completely different story, but that is a really impressive figure. And we got some Funkos. That's cute.
I don't like Funko, but that's cute.
Yeah, that's cute. Marmot, once again.
Yeah, that's a fucking cool figure.
That's a great figure.
It's such a great toy. Yeah,
Mike, you sold yours, right?
I did, but it's I had it a long time and it was cool when I owned it.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe the photo doesn't make it look as cool, but when you actually hold it,
it's such a big bulky boy. He's awesome. The head sculpts are absolutely
phenomenal for a Marmot figure.
Yeah.
And even though the wings are like super deformed wings, it still works. It still works great.
Yeah, it's just really nice. I mean, the body obviously is super out of whack because his legs are super stubby. The wings are stubby. It's a marmot. It's not meant to be, movie accurate, but it is beautiful. I got mine so cheap on eBay, like probably 2014. The seller did not disclose to me, and I don't know if it's a common problem with these, Mike, you might know, but both my wings had apparently snapped off because they're glued on.
Yeah, you know what? Another problem with these is the horns on the two side heads are all separate pieces. Those break off really easy.
Yeah, I think my horns are good. I didn't even notice that the wings had been glued till I had probably had it for like 5 years when I was cleaning it one time, and I was like, "Holy shit, these wings are glued back on."
As long as it displays okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if I sold it to someone, I would tell them. I don't think I would sell it. It's especially now. This figure is super. I mean, you don't really see this guy.
Do you have some broken tips to the wings?
Don't think so. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I do. This one right here.
That's something else
because this one has it and this one doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
Trash.
again, it's one of those things.
Happens.
It's anytime you're doing little nubbins and weird shit. All it's got to do is fall once, really. So, Nev had the same problem.
Do you know those spike tips on the wings are like a problem with the original Bandai too? I see those broken off quite a bit.
Yeah. But it's such a cool figure. And I'm kind of surprised that Marmot, for the amount of stuff they reissue, I feel like, maybe do that.
I think they put out a second one, but I don't think it was as nice.
There's a Depa H version where the little light in his chest is a different color, I think. But I don't know what other differences it has other than that little light being a different color. Certainly not worth another $100 to have a green light instead of a white light, which I think is what the difference is.
Yeah.
SH Monster Arts, okay.
Yeah.
Back to Trendmasters.
Back to Trend. So wait, so now we're already on Trendmasters. Now, X Plus has never done a 91 Ghidorah or Mecha King Ghidorah.
It's crazy, yeah.
Why?
View Ken's comment. So X Plus teased Mecha Ghidorah like 4 years ago or some shit, and we saw it. It was either Summer Wonderfest or Winter Wonderfest or some shit, and it was still in the prototype. It was like a sculpt. It was like a resin sculpt, or clay sculpt, whatever. And that was the last we saw of it. So maybe the sculptor that was working on it quit or got fired or went missing or something, because we haven't seen any update on a Mecha Ghidorah, and never had any teases for a standard, Ghidorah 91 either.
Now, Rich, have they ever done a flying Batra?
No, need that.
Have they ever done a Fire Rodan?
Yes. Wait,
they have done a Fire Rodan.
Yeah, it's a 30 centimeter. Yeah.
Okay, because I was going to say, it seems weird that there are certain Heisei figures they haven't done.
Yeah.
Considering how much they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, Mecha King Ghidorah just seems like a no-brainer, too, because it's such a popular figure.
I know, and they've gotten better with Ghidorahs over the years. So if we go back to 2000, I think it was 14 when the Showa Ghidorah came out, and interview that Kyle Yount did with Kaiju Cast at X Plus back in 2013, X Plus was having a hard time getting the figure to balance out, so, with the wings and the positioning, the right weight, so the figure wouldn't basically crash and fall. In later Ghidorah figures, they figured it out. They put, resin in the legs so it would weigh itself down to get in the wings right, balanced out. Clearly, the original Ghidorah 64 had issues with the wings snapping because, Mike, if you remember back to the Great Monster Series Ghidorah with the fragile wings, the X Plus version, very, very similar with tabs on how they went in. And somebody just messaged me the other day that they're snapped.
Those two little plugs are like, they don't seem like they're gonna hold up to gravity.
No, they're literally two plugs that you shove in. I was dumbass, and I messed around with mine when I got it. I put the wings in and then I held the figure upside down just to show that, all right, they will hold, but you got to be careful with it, But I don't know if just over time their figure is just snapping, or are they just manhandling it, moving it around and whatnot.
I always felt there had to be a better way to do that, though.
Yeah.
Like a locking system to slide it down or something where it won't fall off.
Yeah, I'd have to show you. I think the Kaiser Ghidorah, clearly a whole different figure, smaller wings. I think those have like vinyl slots that go into the wing. The GMK Ghidorah comes with the wings fully attached, so that makes the box bigger shipping and all that, but the figure's solid. What other? Oh, and then there was the 64 Ghidorah because the original X Plus Ghidorah was 68.
68, yeah.
Yeah, the 64 Ghidorah, I picked up the red, white, and blue one. That one also has tabs that you put the wings in. So not an easy kaiju to get right, because they don't want to make it and then send it out and people are going to be having issues. That's not going to be good for anybody. So, and clearly looking at Mecha Ghidorah, there's a lot of sharp points, from the tails, the horns, the necks, the wings, to get that thing balanced out. I mean, you saw the higher version, that had to have the wings support itself by laying on the ground. So who knows? Maybe one day maybe. Yeah. What year did Ghidorah come from in the movie? That's the year we'll get Mecha Ghidorah from X Plus.
Yeah, what was the year? I'm trying to think now.
2144 or something like that.
Yeah, something.
Like Ken said.
Yeah, 22.
But you're probably right, Rich. It probably is an engineering thing. It's just a lot to make into an accurate display. It's not a toy; it's an actual display piece, and it's a lot.
Yeah, because if you hold the 68 Ghidorah like that, you could tell. Be careful. And I'm not even gonna lie. I gotta fix it on mine. My 64 Ghidorah wingtips got those little spikes. You can't see this. This is stupid. One of them broke off on mine. With the little. Yeah, it's really small.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I'm lucky I found the damn thing, but it's been sitting here on my desk for months. I'll get around to it.
And it's maybe my perception, but I haven't seen the 64 in person, but I also kind of feel like the 68 and 64 those wings are so big, so much bigger than I think. I don't even think they have to be that big. They're gigantic.
But the way the wings are going out, the way the heads are going forward, you got the tail going out, it's just the weight is shifted all over the place, and to do a Ghidorah figure justice, you have to find the center of gravity on the figure, for it to maintain its stance. And also take into consideration, it's made out of vinyl. You don't want it to droop. And the over here behind me, the legendary Ghidorah, those wings droop because it's all vinyl, where the other Showa X Plus Ghidorahs, those wings are made out of ABS plastic. A lot of shit going on there, to get it right.
Oh, you bump your X Plus Ghidorahs into something even soft, it's going to break apart.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw your unboxing video over a decade ago.
Yeah.
These things, those Ghidorahs just explode on you. They're so fragile.
Yeah, the only issue with that was it looked worse in the video, but it was just a bad glue seam on the neck. So glued it, fixed it, to go.
It also didn't help that these things were shipped in their boxes.
Yeah,
no padding. Remember that?
Ami. Hobby search, and I got mine with Mike Johnson. Shipped in its shipper like it should have been.
I remember with my fingers crossed watching the USPS guy walk over to my front door, just carrying the Ghidorah box with the slip shipping label right on the box. I was just like, shit, this thing better not be broken. After seeing your video, I was fucking scared as hell.
To Goji Franklin, just mentioning about the tails. Couldn't they make the tails heavier? So, something with the GMK Ghidorah, that tail is heavier. It's filled with either a vinyl, resin, whatever the hell they filled it with. So that definitely has some weight to it. But even the GMK Ghidorah, if you guys that have it, Goji Franklin, I don't know if you have it or not. But the GMK Ghidorah has got some hefty weight to it as well. And the tail goes on magnet, which is nice.
Well, that's kind of what
finding the right center of gravity for these things.
Well, Ghidorah is not it's stylized, but it's fucking hard, heavy as a brick.
Yeah, this guy has washer. I put a bunch of washers in his tail. because that's the only way I could get him to stand up. Because otherwise he would tip forward. So you can always do it yourself. You know what I mean?
Marbles in his tail.
If you can get the tail off, you can definitely put something in there. You put a bunch of pennies or
marbles,
whatever works
rocks.
To make it heavy. Yeah, you put rocks, gravel, dirt, ashes. Your grandma's ashes. Whatever.
I wonder if the Bandai Ghidorah is designed the way it was, so it is not front heavy. Because those wings really pull it back a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. Back to Trendmasters, Mecha King Ghidorah. So that's the OG. Then we got once again the single packaged smaller scale guy. That's the big boy. That's the little boy. And these are all I remember seeing this in stores, but I did not have it. But this one came with a bunch of different armor. The legs on this guy are so. He needs to do some squats.
Not leg day.
Yeah. I've never seen this.
I think I had this. I don't remember now though. I had so much Trendmaster crap.
Yeah, it's like a base or something. It's interesting. It comes with some suit. I mean, I don't know if you can see them in the picture, but some really teeny tiny figures in there. So it's similar to those Godzilla heads, I guess.
Yeah.
So this is,
these things again.
Yeah. Again. Yep. Same Godzilla. Slightly.
This is around the time where I stopped collecting, because I don't think I had any Godzilla Wars stuff or packaging, because that's when I stopped collecting Trendmasters and I started collecting Bandai.
Also, these guys were also available in a big box set. So once you got the box set, you didn't.
Yes,
you didn't.
That was a cool set.
Yeah. The Pack of Destruction or something? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That was the
or is that a different set?
Creation set that had the Manda in it.
Yeah, you're right. Had Manda in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was the 40th anniversary set. Yeah.
Yes.
And then they went to Doom Island at one point, right?
Oh, yeah.
And this is this has dinosaurs and freaking pterodactyls and shit.
These are doing the time travel shit.
Yeah.
This is late in the line when they came out with Varan, Megalon, and Baragon.
Yeah. Yep. And then you got a walker, a wind-up walker.
Oh, looks like a Q-tip.
Oh yeah.
Q-tip dispenser.
Yeah, you got the roaring guy. Wait, why is he in there again?
Yes.
Now we're back
Godzillasaurus.
to Godzillasaurus. Interesting that he came in a pack with the Godzilla.
Yes.
Is that what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Well, there are 4 separate releases of this guy, which is crazy because there's like no other Godzillasaurus figures out there. There's the blister pack there, the tagged one.
Yep.
Then it was in both the 95 Memorial box set and the 2004 Memorial box set. Yes. So if you're like a psycho completist, you'll have 4 of this toy. I only have 3. But there's the standard Bandai. Yeah.
Pretty nice sculpt. I like it.
That's pretty good. The one with the pink neck in the other picture, that's from the 95 Memorial box set.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then Iwakura did him dead on the beach, which is the only reason I included it, because I'm like, seriously, they did a picture of Godzillasaurus laying dead on the beach.
But there's nothing else. No one's really done other Godzillasaurus stuff.
Yeah.
No X Plus.
Yeah, X Plus seems like almost a no-brainer, So
I need to go back.
And then Bandai did.
I'm gonna go in there and straighten them up.
And Bandai did some Dorats. So
these came with a Monster Arts figure, didn't they?
Yes. Wait, are those the SH? No, those are not the SH Monster.
Bandai and SHMA are all kind of the same, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're the parent company.
Yeah, exactly. So
is that new? Yeah, like Goji Franklin just said, there's a new Godzillasaurus that just came out.
Oh, right. In that Ichiban series, there was a Godzillasaurus.
Pretty badass.
Yeah, you are right. Back to that Marmot. Some people said, Cole says, he wish they would do more figures like Mecha King Ghidorah. So if it would become, I am kind of surprised. Like Mondo, I would think would be a really nice Mecha King Ghidorah with the stuff they're doing, especially how big of the figures that they're making.
Could you imagine a Mondo Mecha King Ghidorah? The price on that thing, though.
Yeah, man, but it'd probably be really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that Space Godzilla they have is incredible. The Biollante is incredible too. All their stuff's really good. And Cole again, it's also surprising that they didn't really just do some, different colorways. So so that is obviously, like I said, there's a bajillion different collectibles, but I just wanted to keep it somewhat focused.
And these two.
Oh yeah,
those are so cool.
That's the coolest diorama in that series.
Yeah,
straight out. Yeah, I've got to get those all lined up somewhere. I've got them all.
Yep,
got to get them lined up somewhere.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh no!
And then we forgot the tape measure, the official Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah tape measure.
Cool. Go G Franklin. 3G Fest stream is the best.
Boom.
Rich, you're going to G Fest?
Fuck yeah.
Cool.
And I'm working
next year. I have decided I'm going to go back next year. I think on Coffee and Kaiju when I had Dave, it was me, David, Nev, and Rich Cox. I think we all were like, let's all try to go next year because I know Dave's not going this year. Yep. Rich isn't going this year. Nev lives there, so he's obviously going. But
I will be working with Nev again. I renewed my subscription membership with Mike Johnson, so
cool.
I'll be working the table there.
Nice.
I can't promise anything until it gets closer. A little too soon to say if I'm going or not. So all depends.
Yeah, well, my wife,
Mike, all depends on money.
Yeah, Mike, my wife and my kid are going to London next year, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go to G Fest. So it all works out. Rich, you're on screen all big.
I know. I was about to say, take me off here.
Everybody's like looking at you. Guys, audience, friends, fellow countrymen, we have merch. Dun 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 dun.
Buy it.
Yeah, buy the merch. We have hats. We have everything. I'm wearing a Gen X Lounge hat, which is my podcast. But we have everything that you see here and more. You can get your Coffee and Kaiju hat. You can get your Coffee and Kaiju tank top. You get Coffee and Kaiju coffee mug. You get Coffee and Kaiju coffee
tumbler.
Cool. Yeah, whatever that thing is. You can get stickers. You can get a banner if you wanted to. The stickers are cheap. You can buy like hundreds of them and put them all around your neighborhood. But yeah, you can get all that stuff. Big Ken got himself a coffee mug and sent us a picture. Thanks, Big Ken. And Nev got himself a coffee mug and sent us a picture.
Yeah, that came out really good.
Yeah, and Nev is the designer of the logo, by the way.
There's one thing about TeePublic. We got to figure it out. You know, I wish that the mug, the new ones, was all black and then with the logo on it.
I don't understand why they will not let you do I don't know.
TeePublic, I gotta order one of mine because I changed mine. I just zoomed in on the my logo. So it's not the full logo, it's like half of it, but it wraps around the whole mug. You know, so I gotta see how that works. Or maybe it's something that we're missing on how to get it set up right. But it still looks good.
Yeah, and so if you go to TeePublic and search for Coffee and Kaiju or Gen X Lounge or anything related to this, you won't find us because TeePublic's dumb. You actually have to go until the store is established, whatever the hell that means. You have to. You can only find it by the link. The link is in the description. It's also on my YouTube page. It's also on my Facebook page. So
good.
If you do want to get anything, just follow that link. Or if you can't find it, shoot me a private message and I'll send you the link. Really dumb. Hey, look, here's another picture.
Nice.
Two mugs. That's spoilers. That's my house. But yeah. So if you wanted to get some stuff,
do it.
Go. You can do it. Do it now. Yeah. And I think that's it. So I guess next episode, I guess Rick, you can do a G Fest report.
Maybe we'll try to get somebody else who went.
Yeah.
We'll never be there. So
people don't wear deodorant and they bought toys and they left.
Yeah. We have. I'm not gonna. There's a new Godzilla book coming out.
That's going to be available at G Fest.
Yeah, it's going to be available at G Fest for Steve and Ed. I talked to Steve, and he is down with jumping on an episode with us. So we can talk to him about the book. which would be cool.
And
yeah, so we got some stuff in the pipeline. I hope everybody had a good day. Everybody have a good July 4th. Don't blow any of your fingers off.
No.
Nothing bad. Have fun at G-Fest if you're going.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. And thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Best Damn Podcast.
Yeah. Gen X Lounge is the best damn podcast, but whatever. But yeah, Rich, anything you want to plug?
Got some new stuff that's sitting behind me. Did some reviews already on the X Plus stuff. Just picked up literally just came in last night, the 25 centimeter fake Godzilla. Looks pretty damn cool, I'm not going to lie. Check out my Instagram for a silly little ass reel of unboxing I did with that. And then I'm going to keep pushing along with the my Bandai Marathon. So I'm moving up into...
Where are you at?
Huh?
Where are you at?
Oh, I just wrapped earlier this week the Monster Zero. So now we're going to Godzilla versus Sea Monster. I'm actually behind. I really want to crank these out like every 3 days, but real world, and I got a 9 to 5. But
Rich, did you get this guy yet?
No, you continue to influence me with figures that, or maybe we're influencing each other. It's going like
you're the reason I bought him.
Yeah, you're the reason.
That was on your recommendation.
I got the Megalon figures like over a year ago that started this whole fucking trend with Bandai again.
And you told me this one was great too.
Yeah, I mean he's on the short side, but forget about the scaling. It looks
who cares?
Beautiful. So yeah, I think I was talking to Mike Johnson about the new 95 as well. So I'll probably pick it up. I definitely want to grab the Aggregate Destroyer. Yeah. So other than that. More Bandai videos. Got an X Plus review to knock out, and G-Fest is coming up. So, like I said, I'll be at Mike Johnson's table. It's called Ghetto Vinyl. Me and him, we should do a collab called Ghetto Vinyl X Fresh Vinyl. Bam! Sounds pretty cool. But I'll be there.
Is that what he's calling himself?
Yeah, I had to ask him. Like, what are you called? Because I'm looking at the map of the table layout because they changed the dealer's room. I believe it's a whole different room. It's like, so where the hell am I going to be working at? And he's like, oh, it's Ghetto Vinyl. I'm like, where'd you come up with that at?
He said random. That?
I don't know, because maybe Mike's gonna walk in and be like, "Yo, I'm Mike Johnson from Ghetto" or some shit. I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, so I got my Mike Johnson guy shirt out again, so I'm ready to rock with that. Boom. PR class.
Hey, speaking of what Ken said, if you do buy any merch, send pictures and we'll put it on the show.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do. Maybe we'll. I haven't done what you bought at G-Fest, at G-Fest. That fucking video just got long. So anybody that's watching, remember we did that, last time was 2019. It started off as like a half-hour thing. Then recording got to an hour. And the last time I did it, I was recording for an hour and a half. We had to go out in the patio because even if I got a freaking room to do like a legitimate part of the show, we go too long, which is great. That's great. It got too long.
We could, as part of a G-Fest discussion, show off items we bought at G-Fest over the years.
Yeah.
Our favorite G-Fest purchases. I have a handful of that stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, cool. That Ghetto Vinyl was the name for like 4 years. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. I like it. I dig it. Anyway.
Yeah, so cool. Join the Godzilla Collectors group if you're not in there. You can post your Coffee and Kaiju merch in there too. We'll allow it.
Yeah. Never leave a photo of your shirt. Boom.
Yeah, me too. I was hoping to have it for today. I was hoping to wear it today. Next episode though, those shirts should be. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We do appreciate it. Enjoy your Sunday.
Yep. Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, hopefully don't have too many words.
Wait, sorry. One more plug. 3 p.m. Eastern. If you're still watching, check out Collectible Monsters. I'll be on with Leslie Chambers. We're going to be doing like a G-Fest primer, talking about memories and G-Fest 30. Bam. 3 p.m. today. Be there.
I probably will because I'm not doing anything today. I'm being a lazy bum today. All right, gents, everybody. Thank you. See you all next time. Bye.
How about some coffee?
Coffee? I like coffee.